will be Bird Watching in Singapore by the Nature Society of Singapore under Tan Lim Chong.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you the birds of Sungei Buloh Wetland Reserve in Singapore. This is the map of Singapore, and the reserve is in the northwestern part of the island, circled in red. More than 250 species of birds have been recorded in the reserve. The reserve is the area marked in green. There are a number of habitats in this area, including mangroves, mudflats, freshwater ponds, and coastal woodland. All these different habitats support different types of birds. That's why we get quite a high number of species in this area. A bit on the practicalities. The opening hours of the reserve are from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's free entry. There are no entrance fees whatsoever. Getting there, okay, you can go there by public transport. You can take a train to Kranji Station, then take a bus to the reserve. Or more convenient, you can just take a taxi. The best time to visit is in the mornings when the birds come out and move about the feed, making it easier to spot them. Or during high tide when the shorebirds come back to the reserve to roost. For the current COVID situation, wearing a mask is compulsory and groups are limited to a maximum of 5 persons. Other than that, you can visit the reserve. There are no other restrictions. Okay, let's talk about the wetland birds. This is a common green shank, a bird that is quite easily seen at the reserve. It has green legs. This is a Pacific golden plover, named for its golden plumage. They come in small flocks. This is a whimbrel, one of the largest shorebirds in the reserve, with a long decurved bill. Here it is taking a shower, that's why it's stretching out its wings. This is a marsh sandpiper, a bird with a straight and thin black bill with long legs. This is a curlew sandpiper, one of the smaller shorebirds with a decurved bill. This one is a broad-bill sandpiper, rather uncommon but a highly desired bird with a split supercilium on the head. This is a pteryx sandpiper in the middle with a slightly upturned bill. This is a grey-tailed tattler, quite nondescript bird, with relatively short legs. Here's an Asian dowitcher in the middle with the long and straight bill, and on the right side is a common red shank. This is one of the rare birds that have been recorded in the reserve. It's a Nordmann's greenshank, and actually its legs are a little bit more yellowish than greenish. These two are great knots, another of the rarest species recorded at the reserve. This is a wood sandpiper, a species that prefers freshwater habitats. This is a von Schrenk's bittern, also another species that prefer freshwater habitats. Here's a little egret in flight. You can see the black legs and yellow toes, typical for this species. Here's a grey heron, one of the commoner herons in the reserve. This is a rarer one, a great bill heron. It used to be very difficult to see on mainland Singapore, only occurring on small islands to the south of Singapore. But in recent years, it has become somewhat regular at the reserve, especially at low tide. Here's another large wetland bird, a lesser adjutant. Also in recent years, we start to see small numbers now and then at the reserve. A common kingfisher, common migratory bird for the reserve. A stock-billed kingfisher, a large resident of the reserve. Let's go on to raptors. This is the white-bellied sea eagle. Our large resident raptor. Here we have an immature that has picked up a fish from the sea. Also can be seen in the reserve is the grey-headed fish eagle, although a little bit less common than the white-bellied sea eagle. This is a changeable hawk eagle. More often seen just soaring about in the skies. Black-winged kite can also be seen at the reserve. The smart-looking white and black bird with very nice red eyes. For the migratory raptors, you can see oriental honey buzzards migrating over the reserve during the winter months. Black buzzards, you can see them in small groups, 10, sometimes 20. Japanese sparrowhawks. Here we have one individual that spread out his tail feathers to dry them after a light shower. And this Chinese sparrowhawk with the pale wing linings and dark wing tips. This one is for the lucky few, as it is rather rare, a greater spotted eagle flying about. We also can see quite a number of species of sunbirds in the reserve. The copper-throated sunbird is usually only found in the mangroves, so the reserve is one of the good places in Singapore to look for this species. We also can see the brown-throated sunbird, which has a very bright yellow belly. This is the olive-backed sunbird. They all like to visit flowers. This Van Hassel sunbird, previously called the purple-throated sunbird, very deep red on the underbody and purple throat. This is a crimson sunbird that seems to blend in with the red flowers behind. We also can see quite a number of species of woodpeckers at the reserve. This is a Sunda pygmy woodpecker, quite a typical species to encounter in the mangrove areas. It's the smallest woodpecker in Singapore. This is a common flameback. You can tell it's a male by the red cap on his head. Here we have a lace woodpecker, also a male from the red cap on his head. This is one of the less common woodpeckers, a rufous woodpecker. And this one is a banded woodpecker. More common in forest areas, but still can be found in the reserve. Next we go on to pigeons and doves. This is a cinnamon-headed green pigeon, a rare pigeon for inland Singapore. This is a male. You can see its nice cinnamon colored head feeding on fruits. The female is all green. This is a thick-billed pigeon, another attractive species with the greenish patch around the eye. This is a male from the maroon color on the wings. This is a jumbo fruit dove, a female from the purple color on the face. The male would have red color on his face. Here's an emerald dove, also known as green-winged pigeon, from the green color on his wings. This one is also often seen walking around on the ground, just like the next species, the zebra dove, which is usually seen on the ground. Okay, some other birds that can also be found in the reserve. This is the Oriental Pied Hornbill, the only hornbill that can be found on Singapore Island. He used to be extinct, but now he has made a comeback and doing quite well. This is a Coppersmith Barbet, a very attractive little bird that always make the tonk 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 sound. This is a Malaysian pied fantail, often seen flying around, fanning out its tail and giving its melodious call when it's hunting for food. Long-tailed parakeet. This is our native parakeet with a long tail. There are a few other species of parakeets with long tail, but those are escapees that have established themselves in Singapore, like the rose-ringed parakeet and red-breasted parakeet. This is a dollar bird, known for its patches of whites on its wings. Here's a tiger shrike, a migratory species. And this is an Indian cuckoo. Okay, we also can see bee eaters like this blue-tailed bee eater. And this bird is very interesting to watch when it's feeding. It catches insects like bees on the wing and flies to a perch and then smashes the insect against the poles to try to remove the sting before swallowing the insect. Okay, on the ground, usually in undergrowth, are birds like this, the red-legged crake. Okay, you usually bump into them when you see movement in the undergrowth. This is a blue-winged pitta, an attractive bird. And this is the similar looking mangrove pitta that has a bigger bill and only is found in the mangrove. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Tan Ging Chung from the Nature Society of Singapore. Now, the Nature Society of Singapore also has an impressive historic background. It originated in 1940, so we are the grandchildren of the Nature Society of Singapore, and they used to be part of the Malaysian Nature Society. They separated in 1991, and Sungei Buloh was the area as a bird sanctuary after it was a degraded mangrove forest and was being eyed by big businessmen to be developed into another industrial site in Singapore. But people, rallied against it, and now it is a bird sanctuary. Hopefully, too, that we can do that here in the Philippines. And right now, they are the BirdLife partners. We are still a baby compared to them. They have 1,380 members, and their mission is they are advocates in nature conservation. They educate the public in public awareness, and they participate in national, regional, and international conservation efforts preserving biodiversity. So I guess we can entertain some questions. We still have time if you have any, and hopefully I can answer them or Mike can answer them for me. Otherwise, we can turn over to Willem. Willem, and please explain to them how important our bird records are and how to utilize eBird to record our bird sightings while bird watching. Thank you everyone for your time and attention. I hope you learned something new today from our Asian neighbors. Willem?
Thank you, Tengai. Are there no questions, no Q&A for the hosts? We still have officially a couple of minutes before the next session should start. And also, I don't think that all my presenters are ready yet. So I can show a video instead, but...
Well, Mr. Tan Gim Chong of the Nature Society is with us in the room.
Oh, hi, Gim.
Welcome. Thank you for participating.
You're welcome.
Hello. Gim Chong, aside from Sungei Buloh, where the urban park Singapore that bird watchers go to?
I didn't really get the first part of the question, but it's a popular area for people to go and see shorebirds and also mangrove species like the copper-throated sunbird. This is the most reliable site for us to see these hard to find species in other areas. And it also has a lot of different habitats. That's why there are so many different species over there, more than 250 species. It's one of the popular areas where people go to.
Neighbors.
So we are lucky that even during this period, that's why there are so many different species over there, more than 250 species. It's one of the popular areas where people go to.
Neighbors.
So we are lucky that even during this period, that's why there are so many different species over there, more than. Are there any questions?
Yes, Rafi Beaver has a question. Rafi, start your video and unmute. Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My question goes to Mike. Hi, Mike. Well, just a brief about myself. I joined the cleanup for the Wild Birds of the Philippines back 2011 in August. And it has been a passion for me to go bird watching in Palawan. I'm originally from Palawan. My question is, I'm planning to have an eco park in Barrio Babuyan, north part of Palawan. So are there any particular birds that I have to look forward to have them make my farm their sanctuary? What type of bird would you advise? My question is for Mike.
If you make it a bird sanctuary, you have to check on what habitat is existing in your forest. Is it mangroves? Is it forest? Because in Palawan is a very special place compared to the rest of the Philippines.
Yes.
Most of the birds found in Palawan are related more to Borneo birds and not Philippine birds. So for bird watching going to Palawan, it's like going to a different country for us already. And yet Palawan itself has its own endemics. So it really depends on what you have on the farm, and maybe you can plant some more to attract more birds, to enhance the habitat to attract more birds.
Okay, because it's a farmland which I plan to divert to a forest land because we're just on the foot of a mountain. So
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
encouraging the planting of plants that are native to Palawan.
yes. Thank you for that. So I will be looking.
Maybe we can visit one time.
Yeah, you're free to come.
Maybe we should visit one.
I'll make a special room for the Wild Birds of the Philippines.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
What barangay is this again?
What was that, Jobs?
What's the area called again? Barangay or?
It's in Barrio Babuyan, north part of Palawan, on the way to Port Barton and El Nido.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So yeah, and my goal is to have an eco park since we have no Philippine native trees at the moment. And I'm working with the Palawan native trees. So we're planning to have a nursery. That's a central nursery for the Philippine native and also for the wild birds of the Philippines. It's a huge plan. For 5 years now, I've been planning to do that. So absolutely, since Mike, thank you for your answer. So I'll be looking forward for the birds available to Borneo. So that's the birds that I will have to look forward to, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike, she can also look for Jamie Di Chavez, who's already in El Nido. Is she still our member?
Oh, okay.
San Jason Apolonio.
Okay.
Jamie Di Chavez, yes.
The
Okay.
Chavez. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions? Anybody in the audience have any questions? You can raise your hands. Let's look at the chat. There seem to be questions in the chat. Also, she looks into permaculture. Okay.
There was a question about how do they encourage, I think it was from Karen. Let me scroll back. How do they encourage in Hong Kong? I've read in the website of the Hong Kong Bird Watching Society that school children are required to have bird watching sessions, and usually this group is led by the Crested Bulbul Club. So children, like, well, if we have an example here, urban birding in like, let's say, Balanga, which is also in the curriculum, no, of the city, that I think grade 6 students are supposed to undergo a seminar or a workshop in bird watching in the Balanga wetlands. So I hope I was able to answer the question of Karen.
Maybe we can also ask how they do it in Singapore. How does the Nature Society of Singapore reach out to school children? Do you have any particular programs for school children?
Yeah, we have this program called Every Singaporean Naturalist. So we have our staff who will go to a few partner schools, reach out to them, and when they agree to work with us, then we have these programs for the children in this school to learn about nature so that they can feel that they are able to appreciate nature even in the urban environment, and make them, each one, a naturalist by reporting their sightings on our platforms. And also last year, we brought them in to join our bird race. So we have school children teams in our bird race event.
Wow.
So obviously for them, we cannot do a full 24-hour race. So we have a short race for about 4 hours. And we have our birders who will guide them and lead them, but they have to identify the birds on their own.
Because that's the reason we have the Philippine Bird Festival, because we want to reach out to more school children.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else?
Okay, somebody from Mimaropa here is asking, can we have the specifications for the gadget used in Hong Kong to connect to cell phones? I think
Probably we can ask Mr. Wei Yan of the Hong Kong Bird Watching Society that some of us will be surely interested in the gadget that was shown earlier in the Crested Bulbul video clip. That was actually a new segment in their which was broadcasted all throughout Hong Kong. So that's a good inquiry. I will email him immediately, maybe on Monday. You see, in Hong Kong, when I was corresponding, just a side comment, when I was corresponding with the members of the Hong Kong Bird Watching Society, they seemed to be so troubled because they were locked down again. No, so they're under a lockdown from August 10 to the 16th. So Mr. Wei Yan was kind enough, Apache Lao, to send us a message, because I think we are all in the same situation, no, that we are all in our homes trying to birdwatch from our windows and trying to do the best that we could in this pandemic times. May I have the email address from Mimaropa, so I can probably forward it to Mr. Lyndon, is it? Mr. Lyndon Plantilla. And I guess most of our members also of the Wild Bird Club will be interested in this gadget. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have 8 minutes left. Maybe there might be just one more question before we move on to the last session for the bird fair. Let's see, are there any questions here? What do the birds, okay. What to do with birds nesting inside the house? There. So you see a bird that's nesting inside your house. Would anybody care to answer this one?
Leave them
Let them
alone.
be.
Leave them alone.
Leave
Let
them
them
alone.
alone.
And protect them from your cats and dogs and anybody else who may actually reach that nest. It's a possibility.